The Hospital for Sick Children has been a beacon of hope for families for over a century and a half. Today, we are celebrating the institution's, incredible legacy, 150th birthday. We are joined by Stavros, a Sickkids patient ambassador who holds the hospital very close to her heart. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about your story, because you spent so many years in those rooms and in those hallways.
Yes, I did. And when I look back at it, I really think about how much my parents put into that experience. You know, I talk about it as my experience, but I'm a mom now, and I understand that what my parents went through and what they sheltered me from was a whole other story that I can't speak to, but I'm just forever grateful for. I think the entire experience was a positive one. Mm-hmm. I was born in a different hospital, but quickly rushed to the best place on earth, Sickkids, for emergency surgery in 1983. At that time, my parents were told that I have cystic fibrosis, which is a disease that affects the lungs and the digestive system. But in 1983, and still today, but really in 1983, this was a brutal disease with very little hope. And even though we had no hope, Sickkids infused my parents with so much hope and gave them a really great outlook of my future.
So let's talk about what happened through those years. How often were you at the hospital?
I spent my first 5 months there, and it was very touch and go. They didn't know if I was going to make it. I had many surgeries, and the brilliant doctors put me back together, and I was able to go home, and I had a fairly normal childhood, but I had to be back at Sickkids every 3 months for tests just to see how my lungs were doing. This is a chronic disease, and in 1983, it was really classified as terminal. Right now, it's life-shortening, and it has affected my life deeply and greatly, but right now this is a disease that's quite manageable compared to 1983. So we had to keep a close eye on me. Every 3 months, heading down to Sickkids, checking out the 555 store, trying to make some good memories throughout a lot of tests and just some intense experiences.
As you said, yes, it's about the youngsters, but it really is the families, because there are several hours that are spent there. There are moments, anyone who has walked the halls or has had the experiences at the Hospital for Sick Children, they know some of the miracles that can come out of those doorways. What has it meant like for you now as a mom? You have a smile on your face as you're sitting here describing what for many people would be anxiety-inducing and stressful, but you're sitting here with a smile, with a different outlook. What is it? What is behind that?
I think it was a privilege to grow up at Sickkids. I remember those butterflies in my stomach, the nerves pulling into the underground parking, knowing I might get blood work or I might get a test that we'd call them like an ouchie test. And I can only imagine my mom's heavy heart going through those doors, especially with everything she experienced during that very traumatic birth experience. And knowing that it was touch and go for a while. But I feel like I was just brought up in this place. Every 3 months I got to experience people from around the world, people from different expertise, and people with an intense amount of empathy. I feel like it's almost like a prep school for empathy. I got to meet these wonderful people that taught me how to be resilient. When we had no hope, they gave us hope. And then when we finally had some hope to hold on to. In 1989, when I was only 6, and I remember it like it was yesterday, the researchers at Sickkids isolated and discovered the gene that causes cystic fibrosis. And I remember that follow-up appointment. The clinic was abuzz. We could feel the energy in the air that we are so close to a breakthrough medicine that would change it all. And until we had that breakthrough medicine, we had the hope and the energy of that clinic saying, just take care of yourself. We're going to get there. We're going to get you the meds you need. You're going to be okay.
Wow. I can't even imagine. I cannot imagine. Listen, you are incredible, and continue to spread the love that you are right across, and for all those who work at Sickkids, and for all the families who, maybe are watching this from the hospital room, do have hope, and you're in some incredible hands. Stephanie, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.